Hi gang, Rob here. It's the morning of 5 December 2015 and I've got a gear review video for you this morning. What we're going to be looking at and talking about are the scales for the Benchmade Griptilian aftermarket variety manufactured by Applied Weapons Technologies, AWT. I think some of you forum rats probably have already seen these. And they're pretty cool, actually. I guess it was about a month or so ago I got an email from Jeff Harms, who is sort of a friend and maybe contract employee of AWT, sort of handling some marketing duties for Shane Ward, the owner and founder of Applied Weapons Technologies. He contacted me. I think he'd been subscribed to my channel for a little bit and asked if I would like a set of scales, a grip kit for a Griptilian that I could review for the channel. And full disclosure, they were gifted. They were supplied. I get to keep these. And keep them I will, by the way. I will still give you an unvarnished and objective review of these scales. You guys know that if I didn't like them, they really wouldn't be worth much as a gift. And if I do like them, I'd probably pay for them anyway. So, get that out of the way. And let's talk a little bit about AWT. Before we look too closely at the grip kit, in the package with the grip kit came this card. It says Applied Weapons Technologies and then a message from the owner. There is a picture of Shane's mug standing next to one of his pieces of equipment in his shop. And I'll try to get this without reflection for you guys so you can at least read it. Number, email address, website at the bottom. Well, what does he have to say on the back? I gotta know. First at the top, a quote from the great Billy Graham. Billy says, "Being a Christian is more than just an instantaneous conversion. It is a daily process whereby you grow to be more and more like Christ." Oh, if the church would pay more heed to that definition. So then, in the middle here, in the dark section of the card, Shane has given us a step-by-step path to salvation. It says how to become a Christian. By the way, that might not be the most theologically complete set of instructions for a path to salvation, but I'll tell you what it is. It's one from a man who has truly done it. He didn't copy it out of a book. He wrote that from his own experience. And when I say he has done it, more accurately, it was done for him. I just thought I needed to show you that to give you a good idea the source of this knife. Let's see, what else came in the package? Actually, the two scales, which are T6 6061 aircraft grade aluminum CNC machine and Type 3 hard anodized coated, they came wrapped separately from the contents of this Ziploc bag. In the bag came the fastening hardware, the back spacer, one of Shane's cards, with more quotes from Patrick Henry. "I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." And a little swag, an AWT sticker. So, what do we got here, guys? Well, we have a set of aluminum scales. And when Shane says Type 3 hard anodized, he ain't a kidding. I would say just in my few days with the knife, kind of knocking it around, putting it together. Also sharpened up my Tom Crine regrind Griptilian. I can tell you that this material is really, really durable. And I talked to Jeff on the phone about this yesterday, and he indicated they really hate to do rework on these scales after they're hard coat anodized because it tears up their tooling. So if they'd have to go back in and remill a pocket for the liners after they're coated or anodized, good luck with that. So guys, as we know, the Griptilian is one of the most ironic modern folders on the market because it gets its name, Griptilian. We can only assume from the excellent grip its excellent handle provides, and it's one of the knives that has more offerings for aftermarket grips of any knife on the market. Let's face it, although its name is Griptilian, it doesn't offer much grip, and the handle, especially in the full-size version, makes the knife sound like it was made by Fisher-Price. Nobody likes it. So aftermarket choices abound. As you guys may know, if you pay close attention to this channel, this Griptilian full-size variety is a Tom Crine regrind, super skinny, that I have a tiny little 17-degree single edge bevel on. By the way, it's kind of sharp. This came used to me in this handle. This is a Wilkins grip by Kevin Wilkins in green canvas micarta, one of my favorite knife handle materials. I think I've had this knife for about a year, and I reviewed it on my channel, and my initial review of the Wilkins grip was pretty positive. And I gotta admit, I think it was a little bit of, not that it's a bad piece, because it's not, but after carrying it and using it over time, and maybe it's better in the mini version, but I always found that my hand sort of searched on this grip. I don't know if it's because of the size of the finger groove. You know, my hand just didn't quite ever know where to be in that saber grip. In the overhand pinch grip, it was very, very good and very comfortable. Hammer grip, draw cut grip, all pretty good. Reverse tactical grip, again, the hand didn't quite know where it wanted to be. And deployment wise, you guys know if you carry many axis lock knives, there's no real positive detent. So when you're flicking the knife open, you're kind of dependent on your thumb creating tension against the pivot and then changing directions and snapping the knife out. So let me kind of demonstrate. You know, it kind of makes that noise. That first move goes nowhere because you're pressing in toward the pivot, and then there's a subtle change of direction, the blade snaps out. I never found that that was very intuitive with the Wilkins grip attached. In fact, when I switched the blade and chassis over to the AWT grip, I was like, wow, it's got a lot better action than it ever had before. Going back to recapping the Wilkins and why I didn't love it, and because I sort of didn't love it is why I was kind of excited to have Jeff send me this grip from AWT. I never really loved this backspacer. I didn't understand its subtly milled facets. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see this. I didn't love how it was proud of the rest of the handle. I think it's an aesthetic miss. You know, construction is great. Fit and finish was great. There's just some things, you know, if you're going to make an aftermarket handle for a Griptilian, and you guys may have experiences that differ from mine. Your hands might be different size and shape, and these fit you great. Yeah, they're okay. Let's talk about what's different about the AWT. Well, first of all, let's kind of sit them side by side. I was shocked when I did this. When I held these things up side by side. Does it look to you like, other than the access cut, presumably for the, I don't know what that's really for. I guess it's to get at the thumb stud, but other than that, do those finger grooves look very different to you? They don't to me. I guess as I'm looking at it through the viewfinder though, this is more dished, so it's more concave in its belly. That is significant, and I just saw that right now. Where this is less deep, more shallow, a larger radius cut. So the finger doesn't really know where it wants to be. When you grab the AWT, your finger is there. It's locked, ready to go. Notice the spine profiles are a little different. This swale in the Wilkins grip, I think, almost presents a gap that needs to be filled. Especially in that draw cut grip. I'm a lot more secure on the AWT. In fact, the only grip that I don't really love this knife in is this one. Sadly, this is the most used grip for EDC tasks. And I talked a little bit about that with Jeff on the phone. If you notice, let me see if I can get you a good shot of this. The chamfers on the corners of these scales are extremely slight, and you feel every corner. Now, in every grip except this one, shockingly, it doesn't matter. Hammer grip, superb, comfortable, and strong and secure. Draw cut grip, comfortable, strong, secure. Reverse grip, perfect. And again, that slightly different shape of the finger groove makes the hand know exactly where it needs to be. So you almost might say, because the main EDC grip is better in the Wilkins grip, this would be the better grip for daily carry, for utility use. This might be the better grip, the AWT, for tactical use. Obviously, if you're wearing gloves with this grip, those sharp corners wouldn't bother you as much. In fact, they might give you an increased amount of feel that would give you more perceived security with a gloved hand. Certainly the deployment's better with the AWT grip. This one, by the way, is in dark bronze with an OD backspacer. I chose those colors. I kind of thought this would be, I thought the scale color would be more bronze and less dark brown. And I thought there might be some better contrast with the OD backspacer, but you know, I'm an old guy. I'm 50. My color palette basically consists of shades of brown and green, so the subtle contrast between the OD and the dark bronze, just fine with me. Old guy's knife. In case you're wondering, because I am too, what about the hardware? How does it look and perform? Well, remember, I got this knife as a Wilkins grip without the original scales. The pivot screw is bright stainless. I will be ordering a black one from Benchmade and a new parkerized clip. This was a painted clip that came on the Wilkins grip. It was all scratched up. I did my normal satin to it. I am not going to order a split arrow for this knife. I'm going with the full width, full profile Emerson style clip. I'm just going to have Benchmade send me one parkerized and a black screw. The hardware supplied with the AWT Grip consists of these two body screws, which hold the Griptilian subframe in the handle kit, and then 2 more body screws for the back spacer. Now, unlike the Wilkins grip, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws that thread into the back spacer, are they at staggered locations? No, they're not. They oppose each other directly. But unlike that, the AWT assembly system threads into blind holes in the far side scale, so the holes in the back spacer are not threaded. Once the knife is all together, it is extremely secure, rock solid. Even though there are no locating post or pillar type parts of this assembly, the only positive locating piece of hardware is the pivot. So you're really kind of dependent then on the precision of the milling on the inside of the knife. I don't know if I can get you a picture of what that sort of looks like there on the Wilkins grip. You can see both these handle kits. The milling for the subframe of the Griptilian mechanism is extremely well fit. It's not going anywhere. So I don't think it's that important to have pillars that go through all 3 components to locate them in this fashion or in this fashion, because the way that the subframe of the Griptilian mechanism is milled into the frame or pocketed into the milled frame kind of locates everything as it should be. This is kind of an odd side effect too. As you can see, I think centering is not perfect. That's all blade actually. I don't know if it was the factory grind or the Crine regrind. It's off to this side just a little bit. It was off farther in the Wilkins grip. I don't know if that means anything. It's pretty minor anyway. It's very close to being centered in this configuration. Now, a couple notes about hardware. Because obviously the machining is done to this handle kit prior to coating, I don't know if Shane wants to change this or not, but I noticed when I assembled the knife pivot that the thickness of coating in the hole that accommodates the pivot barrel made it undersized. I mean, I had to beat that pivot through, which is tricky because you have to insert the pivot so it barely pokes through the liner, then put on a washer, then poke the pivot through just a little more, then put the blade on, then the other, then the washer, then finally, hammer it through. And hammer is exactly what this required. I was talking with Jeff about that on the phone yesterday, and he told me, yeah, they are all a little tight at least the first time you put them together, and then after the pivot sort of scrapes that coating off, they are still tight but easier to assemble. I'll buy that. Perhaps it would have been a good idea to run the pivot through both sides of the scales a couple times to get it so it was easier to work with when I did my final assembly. I would suggest you do that if you get a set of these. Also, I noticed both in the pocket clip screws and in these 2 body screws, which screw into coated aluminum threads, they're very tight. In fact, when I assembled the knife, I carried it for a day, and I was just, taking it out of my pocket, opening it, closing it. And I noticed at times I'd hear a rattle. And I thought at first that it was that standoff the factory standoff between the two ends of the subframe, that shiny thing you see in there. Thought maybe that, once the liners were sucked up into the scales, that it wasn't down tight on the shoulders of that standoff, and it was rattling back and forth like a cold steel stop pin. That wasn't the case. I thought maybe the axis bar was rattling. That wasn't the case. And then my finger at some point touched the backspacer and I saw it move. Well, that's because these two screws, which thread into the other scale, I was running out of travel due to the anodized coating. So if you get a set of these AWT scales, what I would suggest is, before you assemble the knife, sort of work on 3 areas of the knife. Insert the pivot in and out a few times so it goes tightly but freely. And then, before putting both sides and the backspacer together, take these 2 screws, run them into the threads on the offside scale several times to make sure that you're getting full thread engagement, so you're going to be able to suck that knife together and capture that backspacer properly. I might suggest to Jeff and Shane that before they ship these, they might want to run a tap through those 5 holes, the 3 pocket clip threads and these 2 body screw sets of threads, as well as maybe broaching, or if you've got some dummy pivots laying around, go ahead and resize that pivot hole so you don't give your guys fits who buy these and try to put them together. When I was a less patient man, I might have not liked that so much. So what do you think, guys? It has a little bit of, well, it's sort of got CQC7 reminiscence going on. It's got a little less George kind of look. If it were bigger and blockier, it almost has a Ramon Chavez kind of a shape. You guys know that I like simple knife handles that are kind of straight, like a stick. This would fall into that category, wouldn't it? We'll see what happens, but I'm going to order my pivot screw and pocket clip to be black, and then I'm going to carry this knife for a little while. And I'm not probably going to do a follow-up review, but if in a month or two you happen to see this available for sale on my Instagram page or on Blade Traders on Facebook, you will know that my initial very positive opinion of the Applied Weapons Technologies Griptilian handle set continues to be positive. And a couple great young men, Shane and Jeff. I spent, the better part of an hour on the phone with Jeff last night, just getting to know him and look for big things from AWT. They started out, when Shane started the company, as a manufacturer of long-range rifle chassis. Billet aluminum, $1,000 and up rifle chassis, and sort of got into the knife handle scale making thing as a time filler. And frankly, I think the direction of the company is going to be going more toward knife handles than rifle chassis. So it's going well for them. So give them some support, my friends. I think they deserve it. That's all for this one. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word is sharp.